Take Action success coach and strategist, empowering, educating, inspiring, and igniting people like you to take action with jet propulsion. Today, I'm really excited about who's on, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But if you are looking to really learn a lot about longevity, if you really want to learn a lot about personal training, wellness, consultation, bodybuilding, this is the episode for you. You need to listen to this because today on our show, we have Arman Eckelbarger. He is amazing. He's a certified longevity coach. He's a personal trainer. He's a wellness consultant and an IFBB Pro Bodybuilder. He specializes in optimizing health, energy, and performance for companies, executives, and of course individuals through a science-based, results-driven approach, which is just amazing and in alignment with what we talk about every week, right? So I'd like to welcome our guest to the show. Welcome, Arman. How are you?
Great. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
I'm so glad that you're here. So some of you know that I recently got back-ended by a drunk driver because we've spoken about it. Yeah, not a first-time drunk driver either. And she hit me and ran. So that was awesome. Good news is yes, they did catch her. Yes, she went to jail. Yes, she resisted arrest. And yes,
Mm.
she got brought in for resisting arrest, assaulting an officer, leaving uh, the scene of an accident and driving drunk. So other than that, we're good. So they were out there doing that. But with that said, you come in at a very interesting time. But before we jump in on that and see universe works in its magical ways, before we jump in on that, let's talk about what you actually do so our listeners understand what a longevity coach, personal trainer, wellness consultant, and IFBB Pro Bodybuilder does.
Okay, so the way I work with individuals, I'll cover that because that's probably more applicable. What I do is I do a deep dive call with the person and learn about what they've done in the past, what their beliefs are, where they are today, and then obviously where they'd like to go. And then based on that conversation, if I feel like I can give them a more efficient, effective way to get there, then I'll explain how I work with people. So the way
Why
the
does their
program
beliefs
works.
matter?
Well, people, you gotta, when they have certain beliefs, it can make a big difference on what programs, what options are going to work for them.
Yeah.
Sometimes those beliefs might get in the way to what they're really doing. And so you have to educate them about, they may want to relook at that and, maybe make some changes on it. But it is a factor, just like anything else. And if your belief is vegetarian or vegan is really important to you, then that's a factor. And so we'll have to work around that. If you believe that what the medical community recommends is always going to be correct, well, that's a factor. I mean, if you believe everything your doctor says, that could be a factor, and it has to be taken into account. So
Yeah.
yeah. So once I
Yeah.
have a good understanding of that, then when we decide we're going to work together, the way I work with people is the first component is to do very extensive lab work because I need to see what's going on under the hood. And lab work does not lie, but the lab work I do, you're not going to get at a regular medical office, okay? Unless that doctor happens to really be more in tune with improving, root cause solutions for the long term. So this lab work is going to cover things like your iron levels, your hormones, which hardly ever get checked, comprehensive hormones, not just a couple. We're talking typically 6 to 11 hormones at a minimum. And then I'm checking your ApoB, which is a better marker for cholesterol versus this LDL. I'm checking your liver enzymes. I mean, there's this homocysteine, your inflammation markers, C-reactive protein, A1C. So you need to get a really
Typically,
broad
doctors do not do that in a screening. They do the average screening, and they
What
don't
they
they don't
what they
dive
do is a
into
metabolic panel and they do a cell blood count is what they typically do and just look for liver function, kidney function, and your electrolytes, a few things like that, which are
it.
fine, but it's a brief story of it's not enough data to really see what's going on. Because if you have inflammation going on, you don't feel it. Nobody wakes up one day and says, "Hey, I think I got high blood pressure." You know, they don't know. So they check it, all of a sudden they start to notice. I mean, you can't have symptoms, but most of the time people don't know.
Yeah.
So when I did the lab work, then I have a baseline of data to work with. And then
Sure.
that data is going to be interpreted by two different medical teams. So I get viewpoints from a perspective of nutrition and supplementation, what they need to do to have a corrective protocol to improve what's not optimal in their lab work. And we can talk a
For
little
them, not
for
generically.
them.
Yeah.
Correct. And then the other medical team, if they need a prescription, can help with that. Okay. Because, we don't, if we can still use their doctor if they want to, but we just got to make sure everybody stays in their lane based on what they know and understand. So that's one thing. And then also, if they want to take it a step further, we can do DNA testing. The DNA testing can be a DNA methylation test, which determines what genetic mutations you inherited from your parents that affect how you absorb nutrients, your raw material intake. So they're looking for an MTHFR gene, the COMT gene. There's just different things like that that can affect how you absorb nutrients. But you can also do a full DNA test, and the DNA tests are one-time tests. So once you do them, you don't have to do them again. So you always have that to work off of. So that's another
Right.
component. And then on top of that, if they need supplementation and other things like that, then I provide that at the lab cost, the DNA tests, and the supplementation at my wholesale cost. So this provides a better value. And then I have a coaching fee that goes on with that. And then after that, we just get to work and start working on what's important to the client. So hopefully
Yeah.
that's not much overkill.
No, no, it's nice to know what the customer experience is going to be and that you are so um, complete about things. And through the process, the client gets to decide whether or not they want to do something or not do something. But with this baseline, you really can work up from there. It's like anything else. It's similar when I'm coaching, but I do it from a different vantage. Is I want to look at your website. I want to look at your social media. I want to look at how you present out there. I want to know where you're going. I want to know what you want from life. So in order for me to help guide you forward, I need to understand what you've done, what you've tried, what you're doing, and what you want. Once I have that, we can play,
Right.
right? So that's
Exactly.
where they are. Why do you do what you do?
Well, my originally got into health because my mother was heavy as when I was young, and she, during those days, this is back in the 70s, there wasn't a lot of overweight people, so she had to deal with the stigma, and I could tell how it upset her. And I didn't have that problem. I was a skinny kid, but at the same time, as I got older, I got out of school. I did athletics. I played basketball. I wanted to kind of keep myself conditioned because when you become an athlete, you kind of tend to want to do that because you like it. And
Sure.
so but also as a very small kid. So like as a senior in high school, I was 5'5", 120 pounds as a senior. So I had a lot to room to improve. Uh, and then I saw a picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger on a magazine in high school in my senior year, and I thought, wow, that's pretty interesting. And plus, I was getting picked on, didn't really enjoy that very well, so I wanted to figure out a way to protect myself. And so that just kind of led me to get into the bodybuilding arena. So I got into that, and as I was learning it, I started having some success with it. Then other people started asking me about how I did this, how I did that, and I kind of enjoyed helping people with things that they wanted to learn. And then it's
Right.
just kind of blossomed from there. So I've been doing that for like 40 years.
Yeah, so and that was a setup question because for me, I always notice that the people who are very successful in their business are doing something as a result of something that happened to them that they want to be able to help be there and help other people because there weren't people necessarily able to answer those questions for them, like myself, like yourself. So you become that resource. And it's like, I understand what you're going through. It's always better to work with someone who understands what you're going through because you've been through it, So it's clear I have some head injuries. I actually have an acute to moderate concussion right now. And I'm working with some people, and they've all had some similar situation. And the ones who have, totally get it. The ones who haven't are like, okay, it's almost like it's in your head. And I'm like, yeah, it is. And it hurts. So
So let me just say this really quick. So Dr. Mark Gordon is a really good person to follow if you have any kind of traumatic brain injury. He's top shelf, so I'd recommend him to anybody that has any kind of brain issues. Since you brought that up, because he has, I follow some of his stuff as well, and I use some of his products. So I think he's a really good expert to engage if anybody has those kind of issues.
Oh, thank you. That will help me a lot, and hopefully our listeners a lot. So Mark Gordon for brain issues. That is really
Dr. Mark Gordon, correct?
Mark or Martin.
Mark, Mark,
Yeah.
Gordon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. I love that. You do so many different areas and so many different things. And how did you get into enzymes and DNA and all this stuff coming from bodybuilding, from trying to protect yourself?
Well, what happens is you're learning things, and when you're trying to help people, you run into all these things that these problems they have, and it's like, oh, okay, so like I had to learn how to fix injuries as a trainer because people come in, they got all these injuries, they don't have the mobility to do the movements. It's like, okay, we got to get this fixed. So I had to listen to the physical therapists, I had to listen to other professionals about what you can do. So I've been kind of dipped in a lot of situations. I rehabbed a guy that had a liver transplant that took about within 6 months, he would just really turn everything around. So, but there was a lot of moving parts to dealing with that. I mean, I just had a lot of unique situations that I didn't really want to get engaged, but if you're going to help them, then you got to figure it out. And I have good resources that I utilize, and I have my own medical teams I like to work with that are vetted. That not everybody's perfect, not everybody's correct, but you got to get enough data to decide what action you're going to take, and that's how I work with people. Is get the data, and everything that I recommend to a client, I've already done it myself. And if I
Yeah.
haven't ever done it myself, I'll say, well, I haven't done it, but here's some things that you may want to consider uh,
Yeah.
part of that. So all supplements, you
I
name
love
it,
the
I've already tried them out.
Yeah, no, it's same. If I haven't tried it myself or utilize the services, I'll let them know it's there. But I'm not getting behind it right now because I don't know what that's going to look like. And that's a great way to be when you're doing it. That you surround yourself with experts in the various fields to help give you the information. You have so much information. Sometimes I need you to just dumb down what you're saying, Arman, because it's just so technical.
I'm
And
sorry, I get a little over the top sometimes. Sorry.
no, it's not over the top. It's just you have so much information and willing to share it, which is a beautiful gift. Willing to share it with other people that you do share that. And so sometimes I'm going to ask you to take a step back with all the things that you're doing. So let's take one area of your um, business called longevity solutions. Let's talk about that. Um, what made you get into it? How did you? And I always say I stumble upon things, but they're actually set there because we come with our success codes already in us. So I know I was meant to do it, but I feel like sometimes I just stumble into things and then I get curious and then I start learning and then all of a sudden I'm teaching other people. So how did you get into longevity?
Well, actually, when I was 48, I started noticing that my recovery, my body wasn't performing as well as it was prior to that. And it's like, it was kind of subtle, but I'm just like, that's interesting. And so I made a comment to my wife. I go, well, this aging thing is kind of, unique to figure out. And she was complaining about it. And I thought, well, I guess there's nothing we can do about it. And I thought, well, let me start checking. So I've been studying aging for the past 17 years now. And at that time, it was, creams and this and that, some supplements here and there. But then the last 5 years has seen a really dramatic change on how you can improve your health span, lifespan, and also improve your longevity. So what we're talking about here is slowing down the aging process. And
How?
if you slow down aging, you're going to slow down disease, which is going to
Yeah.
lead to a longer health span. And so as a bodybuilder, I didn't do the drugs and all the other stuff because I didn't, I wasn't into that. I just wanted to, be normal and maximize my potential. And so as you get older, things don't work as well. It's like, okay, what do you do to fix that? And so I had to learn to find out who to learn from, where to get the answers from. Now things are much can be better with the resources we have. You still have to filter through it though. There's a lot of unfortunately bad information too, but you had to filter through it. And so as I do these things, as I read upon them and then I act on them, I see how I respond. And it's been very interesting how things have happened, especially in the hormone arena. Everybody's going to go through a hormone change because hormones are
And
secreted.
women.
Yeah, well, they're secreted from soft tissue glands, and so they're going to slowly decline. But you can actually improve them with nutritional strategies, and also if you need it, there are prescriptions, but you have to be careful with the prescriptions on optimizing your hormone levels. But hormones are the messengers that tell your body how to operate. So you really need to pay attention to those. And people have no idea about that at this point. And a lot of medical professionals don't either. So you got to find the right medical people that are on nerd status and understand it well, because it is kind of complicated to a certain degree on how you correct them.
Right, right. And if someone was interested in that, how do they get in touch with you, Arman?
Well, you can look up my website, excuse me, elevatelongevitysolutions.com is my website. And then I've got I have leadexecmethod.com as part of that. So you can look me up there. I'm on all social media. So the social media is going to be Elevate Longevity Solutions, the social media part.
It'll all be attached to this episode,
Okay.
so no worries. You don't even have to look
But
it
I'm on
up.
Instagram, Facebook,
Yep.
LinkedIn. I have a YouTube channel, the usual social media outlets. So
Yeah. So, if you want to go follow Arman, that's easy to do. All the links are below. You can go on his social. I'm kind of excited about something, but I'm going to wait till the second half to explain one of the things that you're providing out there. And I'm excited about that. Also need to know if there's a link. So if there is, I'll add it to here. But I just kind of did a little teaser to everyone. But going back into the longevity. So you got into it because you wanted to not hurt all the time. And as we go through every 7 years, lots of stuff changes.
mhm.
So if you had to give two or three of the top things people could do to kind of slow that process down, because I swear I am going screaming into and fighting all the way to the last day. That's what I'm doing. I'm just going to keep moving and, you know, no car back ending is going to stop me.
Yeah, well, you gotta do what you gotta do. So, yeah, fundamentally, to improve your health, first and foremost, you gotta make sure you get good quality sleep. That's when all the repair work happens. And if you short circuit sleep, you're going to pay the price for that. And I had to learn a lot about how to improve sleep. So we can get into all kinds of the weeds with that. You need to exercise, but exercise also needs to have resistance training. Muscle is your longevity currency. Because as we age, we become anabolic resistant, so we don't retain the muscle as well. So strength training helps to retain it. And strength training also helps your hormone levels stay more consistent. So
Doesn't it
those,
make your body produce the collagen that keeps the everything bouncing? And I call collagen the elastic magic.
well, it is. I mean, collagen levels are still going to deplete some, but protein intake is what helps collagen levels, because all collagen is amino acids. It's not a complete protein, but it is a selective amount of amino acids that are comprised of marine animals and beef and other components that go with it. So it can be helpful, but the most important thing you're getting from that is the amino acids. And so when you eat protein, that's what breaks down into amino acids. So high protein is important as we age, because you don't absorb it as well. Your digestive enzymes tend to decline. You don't break it down as well. So you can take digestive enzymes, or you can eat papaya or kiwi, which help the digestion of protein, is another natural source. There's a lot of ways you can improve that.
Yeah.
The other thing is you have to watch your insulin levels. So sugar intake is a huge issue, because insulin is what causes inflammation, because if it stays elevated, what also causes you to retain body fat. But when it stays elevated, it creates the inflammation. So if you have a high carbohydrate diet or processed food diet, you're going to get a lot of problems from it. And
America.
then there you go. But these diets are full of seed oils, and these seed oils are not good either. There's a lot of data coming out on that, but there's also a lot of argument back and forth with the food companies. I'm not touching seed oils because of what I've learned, because they're very oxidized. So you want to stay away from processed food, eat all natural whole foods, preferably organic. If you can get realistic organic food, that would be, number one. But if not, just be selective on what you're doing with your food choices. But I would definitely buy organic meat. I would definitely recommend that.
Yeah.
So food's important, sleep's important, exercise or strength training, cardio can be good as well. I mean, you can work on your VO2 max. This also helps your heart rate variability, which is another marker of recovery. And then you can also use
Body
it
in
for,
motion stays in motion.
yeah, there you go. So those are some good cornerstones, to start with that are simple. And but you need to learn how to integrate those into your lifestyle in a winning fashion.
Yeah, yeah, and that's where having the right coach comes in into play to help you learn all that because we weren't taught that. We were taught a process that I never understood. That food pyramid never made sense to me at all.
Yeah, it's
Um,
horrible.
yeah, it was terrible. I'll never forget. I was in the hospital once, and I remember them bringing the tray, and it was like this. I don't like ham. It was a slab of ham, and then all this like brown sugar sauce on it. And I was like, "How is this good? Why is the hospital serving this?" And I'll never forget that. And I was probably a young teenager at the time when I
Well,
had
to
to
this
talk
to
about
this
that.
to this day, they still serve processed food in hospitals. It's
Yeah,
horrible. To
it's
this day.
crazy. Unbelievable. Well, you're listening to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. We're going to take a short break, come back with Arman, and we're going to talk more about why no seed oil. All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Coach Lorianne. If you would like to be a guest or lift up your business, product, not for profit, or if you have a question or a comment, we'd love to hear from you. So email us, please, at LA. No, that's not right. At healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. That's healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. I told you, I hit my head. So if we would love to hear from you, we always answer it every email we get. And we really appreciate your insights. We appreciate what you're asking for, and we try to bring that to you every day. So please keep those emails coming. In the meantime, let's get back as quickly as possible to our friend Arman Eckelbarger. He is amazing, absolutely amazing. You really are. Your website again is?
ElevateLongevitySolutions.com.
Yeah. So why not seed oils? In the last segment, you said stay away from seed oils, and you're talking about sunflower, almonds. Is that what you're talking about?
So what you're looking for to have the best oils from the research I've done and
Olive oil from Italy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, the fruit oils are your ideal oils. So that's going to be olive oil, coconut oil, and avocado oil. Those are they're cold pressed oils. They're not refined. So when you take the others the seeds like canola, rapeseed, the vegetable oils, palm oil. I mean, there's a lot of them, soybean oil, et cetera. These are all heated at a very high temperature to make them into an oil, and then they have to.
But that strips all the nutrients, doesn't it?
Well, it affects the nutrients. They're trying to extract the fat from it, but you're damaging the fat from this high heat.
Mm.
And like in canola oil, they use hexane to clean it. So you're talking about a solvent to clean the oil, and then they have to deodorize it. And there's a lot of things that have to happen with these high heat issues, and then they have to put the deodorizer in so it doesn't smell bad and get rancid. So if you think about it, you're putting that in your system, and so it's highly oxidized. Okay, high heat oxidizes oil, and so when it's highly oxidized, you get that floating through your system. It's not good for your system. Okay,
Yeah.
fats are good, but your body needs fats to rebuild cells. But
Yes.
when you're using these oils and there are all these food sources, it builds up in your system. And that's what's really causing a lot of problems. Now, there's going to be a lot of debate back and forth because there's some studies which are produced by the seed oil companies that say, hey, it's good for your LDL cholesterol. It'll lower LDL cholesterol. So some studies will show that because they're trying to demonize saturated fat and the other fat sources. But at the end of the day, if you look at people that eat a lot of processed food, which is heavily loaded in seed oils, their health is not good. So if
Yeah.
it's processed food, a bar or anything comes in a barcode, a bag, in a package, and it's preserved, it's going to have seed oils in it because it retains the flavor, it retains the ability to stick the way it needs to keep the formation of the food. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. So the question you have to ask is do your own homework. You don't take my word for it. Do your own homework and then learn about seed oils. And you'd be shocked by all the data that's out there now and what you need to be aware of. So you can, if you want to eat them, that's fine. I'm not touching them based on my experience. And no matter what, they're still going to get some seed oils. So
Yeah. Yeah, I know olive oil is really good, but you don't want to use olive oil in high heat. Um,
correct. You want to use extra light olive oil if you're going to cook. Okay. So the
yeah.
high heat oils is going to be coconut oil, and avocado oil has a pretty high heat level too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, grapeseed oil, by the way, is a really good carrier for essential oils if you want to put it on your body and hydrate your body from the outside in. But like we've been talking about, it's important what we put in our bodies, and I mean what we look at, what we listen to, what we ingest, and what we put on our bodies. It's really important. We can control all that. We can make those choices. And we do have the power of the purchase if we choose to purchase things. And just think of this logic if we put good stuff in our body, right? And it's a little bit more expensive, or even maybe twice the amount of money, it's still going to cost less than putting our bodies through what it's putting it through. It will give us longevity, and we won't have the care, the medical expenses, which are supremely more expensive than putting good stuff in your body. So let's just look at the logic. I was taught a long time ago, shop the exterior of a grocery store. Grocery stores do not enjoy me because I tell them that all the time. Inside on the shelves, they all have barcodes. Now, yes, the fruit have barcodes. I know I have a little Weisenheimer who just texts me and he's like, well, they barcode fruits. And I was like, yes, they do. That's for a process, but that's not processed food. So anything on the inside in a package, even some of those pre-made salads, run. They are, you can't, if you can't and haven't smelt the chemicals when you open that bag on that lettuce, think again, try it again. Real quick story, and I want to share this with you, Armand, is a couple years ago I use essential oils. I'm a certified aromatherapist, certified herbalist, and I went to this event. And when I was at the event, this woman passed by me and she was just like, what do you have in your hair? And I was like, why? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And she goes, I don't know. I smell plastic. It's like, what is it? It smells really toxic. She goes, you're not using all natural product. And I was like, but I don't know. I use blah, blah, blah. And she goes, oh, for God's sakes. And she goes, I'm telling you, if you stop using that and you stop using these other things and you clean the your house of all these chemicals, you will be able to smell again. Because right now you can't smell what I can smell. I'm like, okay. And then I'm thinking maybe she's drinking a little. I don't know. So we go through the whole thing. I decide to do a ditch and switch in my house. I get rid of all the chemicals. I bring in all clean stuff. I don't use marketed perfumes or anything like that. I use my essential oils. I have them all. I just never use them in that capacity. And don't you know, 3 months later, I went to use that same hair product and I was like, what the heck? The smell, the toxicity of the product was so prevalent. It was almost like, and people will understand this, if you're ever opened a package with, one of those beach balls you have to blow up, when you
Mhm,
open the package, that chemical smell, that petroleum smell, that's what the hair product smelled like. So it really makes a difference. We're kind of anesthetizing ourselves from smells and taste and feelings. We push down those feelings and the feelings are there to tell us something's not right, to try maybe make a different choice. That's what the feelings are there for. So pushing them down and masking and doing all this stuff, all it's doing is making us sleep. I call it sleeping. Well, I'm awake now, so I don't do that either. And I didn't know that about seed oil. I do like sunflower oil, so now I'm not going to do
Well, you
sunflower
can
oil.
get sunflower oil that's cold pressed, but you got to
I do
look.
have cold pressed sunflower oil.
Oh, if you have cold press, that's different, okay? But if you're just buying the cheap oils in the aisle, I don't recommend those. I wouldn't recommend them to my clients. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't buy a salad dressing oil that doesn't have seed oil. It'll have olive oil in it, but that's the last ingredient. The first
Yeah.
oil, coconut oil, or not coconut oil, but canola oil or soybean oil is the main ones they use for salad dressings. which
Yeah.
if you're doing a lot of salads, that's not really helping.
No, and the salad, your prepackaged salad dressings have a lot of sugar in them. And here you're trying
All
to
that
cut
too.
out sugar, you're trying to eat light, and then just use olive oil and vinegar.
Vinegar, yeah.
Balsamic. Good ones. Good ones. You're worth investing in. And if you don't think you're worth investing in, you need to call me up and we need to have a conversation. Or you need to call Arman up and he needs to have a conversation. And his conversation will be a lot more in detail. So I really think it's real important to do that, don't you? I mean, what do you think about what I said about shopping the external walls of the grocery store?
Yeah, I mean, I recommend that to my clients too. I mean, you need whole, real, nutrient-dense foods. And so this is the raw
Like the
material
caveman
put into
diet,
your
right?
system. What?
Like the caveman diet.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can go to that too, but at the end of the day, you can have berries and fruits and stuff, which weren't very common, but at the same time, everything needs to be done in a whole food fashion. Because what
Yeah.
happens when you eat whole, real foods, you fill up quicker.
Yeah.
Your leptin hormone, which regulates being full, is going to work better versus your ghrelin hormone. It says, "Hey, I got to eat." So these things stay more balanced when you eat real food because the body recognizes it.
Yeah.
This other stuff, it doesn't recognize it, and it jacks up your insulin. So when insulin stays elevated, you have cravings consistently throughout the day when you want to eat more and you don't get filled up because there's no nutrients in the food, and your body's like, we need some real nutrients here.
Really.
You're
Try
not giving us.
again.
You're giving us these chemical things. It's not real, as an
Yeah.
example. So,
Yeah, yeah, no, it's but your body's saying try again. That wasn't it. So it's so funny that you said that too. Down here at Clemson University, I'm about 20 minutes from Clemson University. They make blue cheese
mhm.
from the cow, from the milk, from the right there at the farm. It is the most magnificent,
Yeah.
chemical free. It tastes amazing, the best blue cheese I've ever had. Amazing. They make the ice cream there. There's no waxy flavor afterwards and stuff. So, I mean, everything in moderation, right? But good quality, you're worth it. You're worth it. Even eggs, I got spoiled. I had chickens, Armand
Yeah,
at
I'm
my last
all
house.
for that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the eggs, I can't eat store-bought eggs anymore. I have to find a farm so I can get the fresh eggs.
It's a big difference. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So give us some hints of how someone can get in touch. Because I also know, and I want to spend a little time with this, I also know you work with corporations. How do you work with corporations? Take what you have, all this knowledge, and work with corporations.
Oh, so what I do with companies is I start off with a free seminar to, show them what I have to offer. So this seminar will be on Zoom or Teams. And so they'll pick a topic that they feel the employees would be interested in. So they can all dial in at a specific time. Now I record the seminar, and then when we're done, the seminar has the details of what topic we're covering. It could be GLP-1s, it could be nutrition, it could be exercise strategy. I mean, there's so many. But then I record it, download it to Vimeo, give it back to the company on a Vimeo password protected link so that if they didn't attend the seminar, but they wanted to see what was in it, they can just review it over and over as needed. Or if they just want to review it because they want to double check some things that we covered, it's theirs to use. And so that based on that and the popularity of how that seminar goes over, then I work with different arrangements for the company depending on what their initiatives are. Well, we just, it starts the conversation and what they would like to look at more long term.
Right.
So,
Right. What I like about that too is a lot of times the healthcare packages that they have, if they do something like this goes to a deduction on the cost of the healthcare. So I encourage HR department heads to reach out and have a conversation with Oman because you're bringing really good information in. And it's good vetted information with your teams that you surround yourself with. And you can basically handle any kind of conversation as it comes to health and creating these and it's also a retention mechanism. If my company cares enough about me to offer me these programs and bring them into the company and also save me money on my healthcare as well as the company savings on the healthcare, I want to stay with this company because they care about me,
and it
right?
makes it more unique for sure. Yes.
Yeah, I love the retention element of that as well. All right. So you work with companies, they bring you in, and then do you work with the individual clients in there or?
Yeah, so we can do packages if the company wants to be involved with the program. If they don't, another thing that's helpful is I am TrueMed approved. And so what this means being TrueMed approved is if you want to use your health savings account or health reimbursement account, HRA, then you can use those dollars to have pay for the coaching, and it covers everything: the lab work, the supplements, everything that's included. Because you get a letter of medical necessity to allow that, but you can spend up to $4,000 a year for an individual, 8,000 a year for a couple, and these are pre-tax dollars that you're using. So there's a lot of benefit for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. You're so flexible. I love that. Where else can we find you?
Well, you can also, if you wanted to email me a question, it could be Arman at elevatelongevitySolutions.com. That's my email. But outside of that, any social media, if you type in my name, if you do a search on Chat GPT or any of the other, those different search engines, I'll pop up and there's all kinds of data on there too.
So I'm a take actions coach. So I would love our listeners to take action because you are gifting the listeners a nutrition ebook. How can they get that? And I'm excited about that. How can we get that nutrition ebook?
All right, so the email would be the best way to do that. Then I'd send it out to you immediately. But you can also contact me through any of the social media connections. You want to direct message me or something like that, I'll send it. I just need an email to send it to. That way, I'll make sure you get it. It's a really good book. It talks about carb cycling. So this is how you can manage your insulin levels to manage body fat.
And
People
some
don't
carbs are
know.
necessary, right? I mean, some people are like, I do no carbs. And I was like, there's good carbs that we need.
Well, so carbs are not essential. Protein and fats are essential. So carbs are not essential,
But
but
doesn't carbs help the balance of the protein and the nutrition?
well, okay, so what you're looking for carbs is an insulin spike. Okay, so that insulin spike helps to push the nutrients into the cells. So you get some insulin when you eat proteins and fats, but not an insulin spike. So when you have carbohydrates, you get a higher insulin spike, and that helps to put those nutrients into the cells. So that's one of the main forces of having carbohydrates. It also gets stored in the muscles and the liver, so you help to replenish those areas. So that's also another benefit. The things that are negative about carbs is people eat too many of them. And so when your insulin rises and stays elevated, you don't burn any fat. You don't burn fat until all the insulin comes down. So if you eat a lot of carbohydrates throughout the day, you never have time to burn fat. The only time you burn fat is when you go to bed because you're not eating and there's no insulin. So that's one thing people need to realize. You only run on one energy system at a time. It's either the long-term energy of fats or the short-term energy of sugars and carbohydrates, which only lasts about 2 hours to 3 hours max.
That's
Okay.
that crashing effect you get around 3 o'clock.
Yeah, it can create a crashing effect, especially if you combine it with caffeine. It's a kind of a double whammy there. So your
Oh,
body's going to say, "Hey, I need more food. I need more food." So that's what
don't take
happens.
away my caffeine. I like you, Armin. Don't take away my caffeine.
Caffeine's good. There's nothing wrong with caffeine. You just got to understand, how to use that the right way as well, because there's very beneficial, but also it can be a hindrance too because it affects your sleep, which is another factor to sleep. So you want to be able to balance these things.
Yeah, because you said sleep, exercise, insulin levels, and new seed oils.
But
Four of your key points that you had brought out earlier. So why are you so smart? How come you're so smart about all this, Armin? You just study, study, study?
Well, I studied and also I'm living it. So, everything I do, I'm practicing it. I'm seeing how it works for me. I'm measuring it. I've got all kinds of wearables. I got a Whoop strap. I got this Bleo strap. I got an Aura ring. So I'm measuring along with the other data from lab work and DNA testing. I'm measuring to see, am I improving or am I getting worse? And so these wearables are helping that area now. But there's some bugs still in everything. So you have to know how to weed kind of through the data.
Yeah,
So
but
that's part of the
you
process.
should know your body the best. You should be able to know when you're right, when you're off. Because like I know just by a little tweak, if I, well, not right now because everything's all messed up. It's jumbled right now. But generally speaking, I know when something's not right. I can feel the imbalance of it. And it's because I've been very aware. I practice a lot. it matters what I intake. And so I think we need to be very aware and not rely. A lot of people rely on other people to tell them, and they wait till they're so bad that the body says, okay, shutting down. And we don't want to get to that point. We want to wait. We don't want to get to that point because when you do, you're shutting down a lot of different, you're creating more problems, right?
Yeah, well, let me just say this. The reason I like to do the lab work because nobody knows what's going on under the hood. I mean, you feel certain things, which
Right.
like when you have caffeine, you feel that, okay? But these things slowly creep up. And so your iron levels could creep up as you get older, and especially in males, it creates a lot of problems. And there's no way to know that unless you check it, okay? But people don't check that. Same thing for females. They can get a lot lower than they need to be, which can lead to anemia, but are they checking it? They're checking all the iron levels, okay, the ferritin, the iron, the TIBC, et cetera. So that's one thing. And then on the cholesterol, the real cholesterol marker, are they checking ApoB to see, do you have an issue with that? And it stands for apolipoprotein B versus just checking your LDL. If the LDL is elevated, they want to put you on a statin, but is that really necessary? Because
Right.
you need
Yeah.
LDL. It's a transporter.
I,
So
I just think they put people on medicine so quickly. It's like, wait, can we try to figure this out? I can't believe you have over 40 years of experience. And what I admire so much about you, Arman, is that you lead by example. You're doing it yourself. So this is how you gather this information. And anytime anybody wants a coach, you want a coach who has experienced it, who's gone through things, who has really gathered the information and surrounded themselves with people smarter than themselves. Hence why Armand's here. I gather people who are smarter than me, um, and to allow us to be able to share that information forward to other people. Because again, like we said at the beginning, I always wished I had had a me when I was going through my transitions. And I'm so glad that I have a you while I'm going through this situation because I'm able to take advantage of getting all those tests done that the regular medical community aren't necessarily aware or conditioned to practice, where you have to go to all these specialists, and you're like one big specialist in one package. That's how I look at it. Would that be accurate?
well, I have a team of people so that I can learn, okay, this is what's, so whenever something comes up that we need to fix, it's like, okay, what's the best way to fix this? Most of the time, it can just be food or supplementation that you're not getting enough of. We
Yeah.
fix that, and you'll see the change in your lab work. And it's like, okay, we're good. So what I basically do in a nutshell is I teach people how to take back control of their health and physique on how they want it to look. Because once you learn the principles of how everything functions, it's a lot easier to control it. You know how to get rid of body fat. You know how to keep your muscle tissue up. You know how to look at your lab work and not wait for the doctor to say, well, it looks good. We'll see you next time because they haven't looked at your optimal ranges. I mean, there's a lot of things.
That's another thing really, really quick that drives me insane. Who gets to decide between this number and this number, that's good. Between this number and this number, that's bad. It might be okay for me. Like I know my whole family has a higher cholesterol level. It just is. Every single one in my family. We have higher cholesterol levels and it just is. And we have very low iron levels. And they're like, you have Italian anemia. And I'm like, no, I don't. It's just where our bodies work, you know? So who gets to decide that and who can I call to change it?
Exactly. Well, let me say this, since you mentioned iron levels, some things that are important is if you want to make sure you're absorbing your iron, you need to take about 2 grams of vitamin C nightly to help with the absorption of your iron if you're low. Then other types of iron you can help with, you can cook with an iron skillet, you can use hemi iron, which comes from beef liver. If you don't like beef liver, use beef liver capsules. That's the same way to get it. And it's a really easy way to replace that. Uh,
Inch.
Sardines are high in iron. A lot of people don't like sardines, but they're also another, certain fish have high iron levels. So there's a lot of ways to correct it. You don't have to take a supplement to improve your iron.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you are just totally amazing. I love, love, love everything you told. I need to have you on more because I need to learn more about what you do. I definitely will be calling you. And thank you for the Mark Gordon for brain issues. I really appreciate that because I can use that right now. I'm going to remind everybody here, please email Arman or go on his social media or go to his website or follow some of the links down here. Get that nutrition ebook. You will love it, and then you'll fall in love with him, because this information is really good. Empower yourself. Information is very powerful, and then you get to make other choices. And everything is about awareness. We talk about that here. If you're aware, then all these choices open up. They may not be ones you want, but it's still a choice. If you choose not to do it, that's up to you, and nobody makes you do it. And I encourage you to give him a call, especially if you have a corporation, if you're an HR person, a CEO in the C-suite, you have diamonds here that you can bring to your people, utilize it not only as retention, but tell your employees how much they matter to you. Arman, last words before we wrap up?
Well, other than that, I really appreciate the opportunity to be on the show and hopefully give people a few takeaways that they can learn from. But yeah, it's been a real pleasure.
It's been a pleasure to have you on. And yeah, I think they got a lot of takeaways. So, and again, I'd love to have you come back. In the meantime, thank you all for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle. I am Coach Lorianne, and I hope we earn the privilege of your time. I want to thank Arman for being on. Really, I do appreciate you. Look for our show next Saturday at 3 p.m. on JVC Broadcasting and iHeartRadio, of course. And we can, of course, be found on all major platforms, and we would be so grateful if you please like, follow, share, and subscribe. And please take a moment for yourself. Take care of yourself. You deserve the best of the best of the best. Don't settle for less. Until next time, I am Coach Lorianne, America's #1 take action success coach and strategist. Let your dreams be bigger than your fears, and let your life be filled with joy. Call Arman. Have a good week. See you next time. Thanks, Arman.